and over again, you're poor and you're poor, you're black, Latino, and you cannot live on expensive real estate in Manhattan, and you're gonna go. Bill de Blasio owes his allegiance and his term in office to Wall Street. Amen. And that who is in charge of his major appointments. Well, and you're gonna sit here and tell us and give us some ice cream when in fact is sauerkraut? No, people aren't going to follow that, not at all.
May I say something about secondary displacement?
I'm responsible for making sure I can protect as many affordable units in my district as I possibly can. And without me being able to demand that developers include affordable units, there's nothing I can do. I have to be able to demand. Developers are developing in my district as of right. As of right means they don't have to build affordable units at all. So I have no governing body. I need power against the developers who are building in my district to make them have affordable units.
Is there a better deal that you could make?
No.
They don't have the 421A, so what is their incentive?
They're gonna pass it in the state legislature again.
So tell us that. What is their incentive? The city council? I don't think so. Mayor de Blasio and the city council, I suspect, including you if you were there, voted for every rezoning proposal of the Bloomberg administration. But now there's a change.
I wasn't here for that.
Oh, okay.
I can only speak for protecting affordable units in my district, and that's the most important thing to me. If I cannot demand that developers build affordable units, that's what I can't do that right now. Right now, developers are building all over my district with no restrictions. And families, like my family, who's been there for many decades, are being forced out. My children, when they graduate from college, won't be able to afford to live in my district unless I'm able to make developers, through mandatory inclusionary housing, build affordable units, period, end of the story. So I understand your argument, and it's a valid argument, and I appreciate it. But there are different things that are happening in different parts of the city. Right now, I have developers, as I speak, erecting monstrosities in my district. And fortunately for me, I do have landmarking, which preserves height and gives me height restrictions. But if I'm not able to prove to the constituents in my district that I have a governing ability to make sure that developers include affordable housing, everybody in my district is going to be forced out. So mandatory inclusion.
May I make one point?
My district, I'm in my district. There's not rich people in my district. There are working class people in my district.
There are people you have to concede who make more than $35,000 a year. And what are you? The question? The question is, what are you going to do about secondary displacement? We already see evidence of that. And what are you going to do about the federal AMI?
I was able to, there's nothing I can do about the federal AMI. This is a local municipality.
I didn't think
this so. This is a local municipality. I can write rezos out the wazoo.
They always negotiate with HUD. Always.
So,
do you think it's time for the city
of affordable housing that you're going to vote for? In other words, you're saying that right now a private developer can put up a building 100% market rate rent, but you're going to settle for a private developer putting up a building with our tax money where
your tax money's not included. When they build as of right, there's no tax dollars included in it, which doesn't give me a say on what they build. That's what I'm trying to explain.
He's talking about the tax dollars with the incentive for them to adopt your proposal, because we already know, even with the 421A program, the city lost $1 billion a year.
But so what you're saying is that you're willing to settle for, instead of some developer putting in 100% market rate, you're going to settle for some developer going in there and putting in 70% market rate, which means that you're going to have an influx of high income. And
I already have an influx of high income.
You will still have it.
No, I'll have a percentage.
Yes.
Right now, I have 0% is included.
You will have 70%.
So I don't know what school you went to or what math you know, but 30 is better than 0 anywhere I've been.
So there is an alternative. You don't. There's an alternative. We don't want our public money or
Wait, before you finish, let me say this. I stopped. I'm on my way to a hearing because I respect your opinion and I respect what you're doing.
Thank you for
right? So
your time.
I didn't stop to argue. I respect to give you a perspective of my district. That's all I wanted to do.
One very quick question.
Appreciate it.
Do you think the city should start looking at the whole as of right thing and tighten it up so that developers can't just as of right?
I think
they
that
should
this
be
is a
told,
step in
this
the-
is
I think-
city land. Housing is a very important thing. We cannot leave it to you to do things as of right.
So I think that this is
Socialism
absolutely.
for
I think that this is the step in the right direction. Right, giving council members the ability to hold developers accountable for any units of affordable housing. So you may say 30% is what I'm selling for. People in my district who have 0% would love to have some opportunity to stay where they are.
what about using state and city money to put up affordable housing just for
When you use
low-income
state
people?
and city money to do that becomes a housing development. And we know how the city and how most people feel about housing development.
Housing development. It doesn't have to follow the big projects that were put up in the 1940s and 50s.
Will you be testifying at the hearing? Because I think that's an opportunity for you to put forward whatever proposals that you're saying.
When is the hearing?
It's Thursday. We vote on Thursday.
Thursday, what time?
Oh, you don't vote
I don't know.
It was tomorrow.
What's today? What's today?
Monday.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It's Tuesday. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Let's get our times right.
Sorry. Take it easy. Take it easy.
She's inspired.
I just,
Sorry.
the only other.
Cornegy.
Yeah, I don't know. They won't take public
Can
comments first.
I
They
have
always
a
do.
short statement, short statement.
Yes, ma'am.
In addition to not having separate entrances, we got to stop building these glass houses because they're environmentally a disaster. They're very hard to heat. We need insulated buildings.
That is, we need energy efficiency. Absolutely, I would agree with that. I would absolutely agree with that.
Councilman Cornegy, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
I think you're asking a question. You know the answer. I'm fighting as hard as I can. Every single day. The bill is 851. If you feel strongly about the bill, please call your council member and ask them to get on that bill. The bill is Bill 851. And every day my office calls to follow and track its progress to make sure that I can protect those businesses. And like you said, I can't go backwards. Those businesses that have been forced out, I can't.
You are absolutely right with the argument, and no, everybody will listen to you when you say 30% is better than nothing. But when you look at that 30%, and when you look at past studies about that so-called percentage of affordable housing and what it produced in actual low-income housing units, it is far below the 30%. The studies.
It's funny that you mention that. I agree with you, but it's funny that you mention that because.
Wait a minute. I'm not arguing because
No, I know you're not.
I think that your argument is one that people will listen to because it makes sense. It's reasonable. It's better than nothing.
But I want to leave you with one thing, though. I want to leave you with one thing.
You understand my point.
I absolutely
It is
understand
a
your point.
false premise, sir, because it doesn't create 30% of affordable housing. It simply does not. The studies don't.
No, what I want to respond to is that in my district, we don't have a loss of low-income housing. I have 21 housing developments. What I'm losing is my middle class, and there's no subsidies that are available for middle class. So I have seniors who worked and were professionals, but now they make too much for the programs and too little to stay in the building. Nobody's protecting them. And that's what I seek to do with mandatory inclusionary housing, right? Because 30% AMI is for a select group of people, and I respect that group of people, but there's no group from 40 to 60, which is where the bulk of America lives, just so you know, in the middle class. There's nothing for middle class. And so part of the mandatory inclusionary housing program allows flexibility for a council member like me to provide affordable housing to middle class individuals who are being forced out. So my teachers, my bus drivers, who don't have any place, who don't have any place to live.
I would
when
agree
this is,
with
I
you.
have 21 housing developments for individuals who.
Yeah, I understand it, but what it neglects, the population that it neglects, are the working poor who are now in the city shelter system. We have recently released incarcerated that are being referred to the city shelter system. That's why that number of 68,000 is growing and growing and growing, and there is no provision for that exploding population in this housing proposal. So listen, we're just trying to be reasonable. We're not trying to attack you. If I was a bit verbose at the beginning, but
I took that for passion, by the way, so I wasn't offended at all.
It was a frustration of dealing with the reality of this explosion of homelessness that will increase because affordable housing has not been addressed. And you're talking about the black working class. But there are more poor black people than there are middle class black people. And therein lies part of the problem as well.
Right, so, but can I just respond to that?
Yeah.
In my district, the middle class, somebody mentioned small business and the loss of small business.
Mm-hmm.
In my district right now, the lower class don't shop at the stores that are in my district.
Don't say lower class, say working class. They're not lower class.
No, because the working class, listen, the working class is who's being forced out. And that's who does the shopping. So listen, when we think
lower
about how...
class seems to be pejorative.
Let him define his terms.
So please don't hold me accountable for the terms that I'm using.
Okay,
What I'm saying is people who are living below the poverty line don't generally shop or help build an economy based on local businesses.
We don't call that
The rich people that are now gentrifying those areas don't shop. The only people that shop and spend their dollars are the middle class, the working class individuals. So if we don't protect that class of individuals, then our small businesses erode. So there's a negative impact on not having subsidies available for those people who worked all of their lives and who contribute and who are the tax-paying base and those kinds of things. So we have to be smart about what we're doing. Yes, we should protect affordable housing units for people living below the poverty line. And you mentioned statistics show that over the next 10 years, we'll get a huge influx of people coming home from prison from the Rockefeller drug laws, right? So all of those people are coming home. They're coming home.
It's already started.
It started, but there's 100,000 people who will be coming home over the next 7 years, and they'll be going to 7 specific districts, one of which is mine.
And another one is Harlem.
I understand that. So I want you to know that there's a thought process in place that's not just with blinders on about what's happening right here today. So I agree with you. I agree with you about who we should be protecting, but I just wanted to add to you that there's also a base that needs to be protected as well, and that is seniors, that is people who have been of working class, who fall out of the subsidy programs, who can't get scree and dree because their income is too high, and who need to make sure that there's housing available for them so they can stay and contribute to the tax base and also contribute to small business.
Are you in favor
quick
of
statement.
the Blasio bill?
There's parts of it I absolutely agree.
But do you have to destroy the zoning? I live in Tribeca. We're going to lose our zoning. We're a landmark district.
I understand.
There's no way to to do affordable housing without destroying all the zoning in the city?
I'm sorry. Let me just let her. She's waiting for
I'm working on a bill with the state to take $20,000 and less income for those on Dree and Scree to get a rollback. Because, like me,
Say again?
to get a rollback, not a freeze, but a rollback, we need to introduce that because I get $800 a month and pay almost $500 for my housing. We got to roll back because we're going homeless.
Did you get, if you don't mind me asking too personal, did you get a preferential rent?
No, I have a friend who's got that, and she's going to probably have to.
Because I just had a bill passed by the mayor on freezing rents at preferential rent Not at the
Is it passed yet?
seniors and disabled.
But my friend is in Yonkers.
Right. But so yes, we passed it.
But now the state has to.
Yeah, the state has to pass it. So I've been lobbying. I turned into a lobbyist.
I'm working on that thing to help the DRE and SCRE people get back to like 30% of the income, because we need the rollback. We're losing our homes.
So I really think that you deserve to have your voices heard, which is why if nobody else stops, I wanted to stop, because I think that it's important, and I wanted to really hear, because we're there and we're banging out this bill, and sometimes we don't hear your voices exactly.
Thank you for
This is Robert Cornegy from Bedford-Stuyvesant, folks. So he gave us a lot of time. He gave us a lot.
No, I
What is your
appreciate
name
your hard
again?
work and your advocacy. Cornegy.
Will the zoning,
I'm a 32
will the
weekend
zoning
member.
be changed because of this?
I love his
I don't know.
hair.
Do you know?
I love that. We had a lawyer with a braid and.
I don't know. I'll talk to Margaret, because we have. Although it's a bill for the city, we have specific things that are important to our district, and we fought for those, lobby for those in the context of the bill.
I read all the changes.
Yeah, and
But
so
it's hard to know whether the zoning's going to be destroyed or not.
and for me, I have a lot of like your district. I have a lot of landmarks
Yeah.
in my district.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there's no way that they're going to destroy that. There's no way they're destroying it. Not in my district. So you want to see somebody have a big fight. What we fought for was landmark and preservation. So I have to believe that. And Margaret's the other end of the spectrum in terms of size, but she's just as much of a beast as anybody in this council. If you have her as your council member, I would go to war with Margaret Shea any day.
Do you think,
Side by side, not against her. I would go to war with her any day.
do you think, given that there's still so much difference of opinion about these proposals in the city, that it might make sense to postpone a vote for another month, a couple of months, and let more negotiating?
Some of us would have liked to see
What's
a lot
the
more
rush?
negotiations.
Why does it have to be rushed when so many people are still not on board?
Everybody's not 100% comfortable, to be honest with you.
So, I mean, if the council could even put it off for a month and allow for more testimony, because how many people can testify in one day or 2 days,
They tried.
I've seen you guys be pretty disruptive, to be quite honest, though. And I mean that in a good way. So I'm expecting
Anyway.
to see you tomorrow.
One day is
in
not
the same.
comprehensive enough.
Anyway, I thank you for
Yeah,
willing
very
to have a
good.
dialogue.
No problem. I got to
Thanks
get
for
to my
your time.
hearing, though. But thank you guys for your
Spread
advocacy.
the word. Speak to the people.
Could you list the working people he's talking about? That's teachers don't qualify because their income is right in the wrong spot. What else? But teachers are
Besides teachers, what
Bus drivers?
What areas?
I didn't mean to get so passionate.
There's a beast with that, and she's in my ear every single day about, especially the REO, but ethnic media in general, and making sure that we protect it in the city because it's eroding quickly. Okay. Thank you. See you later.
Folks, let's stand up to the developers in New York City who are creating a two-city world in New York. We need mandatory affordable housing. We need sustainable jobs. We need a city council that will stand up to rich developers and make sure that all people have a chance for affordable housing in New York City. New York City Council, stand up to the rich and the powerful. If you fold, shame on you. Get out of here. Get out of City Hall.
Here's a patriot.
Now, I can be very civil.
Right, exactly.
So, any place
Mandatory housing.
They were part of it.
Yeah, and I didn't like that. Don't tell me how to talk. You have no.
Okay?
This is me.
Guy's been not happy with me. The second one.
Was the time at this button? What's up, man? No, I got that part. Oh, hold the bottom part there. What's the concept?
This? Well, we want to create more affordable housing. We don't believe this plan creates that much affordable housing. There's still going to be a rise in homelessness. We believe that they should fight more for not building luxury housing in neighborhoods where there's already some kind of way people who are working class can live there. And this plan addresses up to a very minuscule point.
Not near enough for what's needed.
Well, what's needed is total revolution where we get to run the housing and we don't need these bourgeois landlords.
Be very careful. You know, they don't want to fight the hand that feeds them.
Have you talked to anybody in
No.
Yeah. I'm actually meeting someone. It looks like they're calling for it to be defeated.
I'm going to be here tomorrow morning for the other.
What?
There's another one protest tomorrow morning.
Oh, I'll be there talking about those opportunists straddling the fence. They recognize that there is a groundswell of opposition opportunists who have called the demonstration for tomorrow, and it's a fait accompli, so it is merely grandstanding. That's what it is, because all of them recognize, with the lead group being Met Council, that in fact there is a groundswell of opposition on the ground among people of color who recognize this neoliberal policy for what it is, one of gentrification and displacement.
When good people like these people out here fight for true justice against the rich and the powerful, there's hope in New York. From Tribeca to Chinatown to Brooklyn, we can do it, but we need your help. Support us. Get the city council to stand up to rich developers. Don't allow our city council members to fold for the interests of the rich and the powerful. That's not democracy, folks. Join us. Stand up for democracy. Stand up.
But you know what?
Affordable housing for all in New York City.
To rely on the profit-driven real estate industry to provide affordable housing for low-income people is a flawed concept. It will not work.
Because the profit system, you go as high as you can go.
You'll get a few. You'll get a few units for low-income people, but they'll be insignificant to what is needed. Not only that, but through vacancy decontrol of regulated units, which is going on now, and when landlords of older buildings sell their properties to these new developers, that will cause a great deal of displacement. Between those two, vacancy decontrol and displacement, in 10 years, now de Blasio said in 10 years he'll be able to provide 200,000 units. In 10 years, and those are not that affordable, but in 10 years, you will have a much bigger amount of people that have been displaced or vacancy controlled out. So in 10 years, you're going to have a worse situation than you have today.
Net loss.
A net loss.